This is the Weekend Sports Buzz with Tyler Bloyd, Kelly Patrick. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Welcome to the Weekend Sports Buzz. This is Kelly Patrick with Tyler Bloyd in the studio with me. Just the two of us today. We've got Adam, our producer today. Got a good show lined up for us. We will be discussing, among other things, the Reds clinching the National League Central Division. Also be talking a little bit about Kentucky getting smoked by Florida. Louisville held on and barely beat a not-so-great 1-3 FIU team yesterday. So we're going to get into all of the things that are happening in today's world of sports. Like I said, starting with the Reds. The Reds yesterday beat the Dodgers and clinched the... I can hear myself. You there, Tyler? Tyler? I think I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
I can't hear you, though. But I can hear you because you're right beside me, so we're okay right now. So we're fine, as long as you can hear me.
I can hear you. You're good.
All right, I can hear myself in the background, yeah.
So let me guess,
Sorry,
Tyler,
let me start with, I was trying to get my mic situation. That's always
talked about
up,
Louisville winning, Kentucky getting smoked, and the Reds clinching. Let me guess, what do you want to talk about?
We can talk about all three, because that's what we're going to do, because that's what the Weekend Sports Buzz is about. We love the UK, the U of L, and I love the Cincinnati Reds, because why? That would be our second NL Central Division championship, Kelly, in 3 years. You're a huge Reds fans. Everybody knows that. We love talking Reds here on our Sunday show. They beat the Dodgers, Kelly, 6-0 last night, yesterday afternoon, actually, technically, and clinched the division. Cardinals lost to the Cubbies again, to Scrubbies, as I like to call them.
A dominant outing by Matt Latos. He pitched 8 innings. He didn't walk anybody. Struck out 7. An impressive stat that I read in one of the reviews was not a single batter even reached second base against Latos yesterday before Chapman came in and pitched the 9th. It was a non-save opportunity. But, it's good to see Chapman back out there. It's been a little bit of time since he's pitched.
Yeah. He was out, I believe it was close to 2 weeks. Arm fatigue. He had a bullpen session. Let's see, today is Sunday. I believe it was Thursday or Friday. He had action for the first time last night after that, a week and a half off of rest. And he said he felt great. He didn't hit in the 102 range, but it's fine. He didn't need to. No strikeouts, but he was looking better. He was in the high 90s, 99 miles an hour area. So he's back. I assume that's all it was.
It was September 10th was the last time Chapman had pitched before closing out the game. Not closing the game, but pitching the 9th inning yesterday. I like to see Latos. He's a big, strong guy. He's a workhorse, and I like to see him in such good shape. Headed down the stretch. I mean, I'm confident that if we're going to do anything in the playoffs, not only will we need, Cueto to show up as our true ace, but also Latos. And he is really, now he's, 13-4 with a 3.6 ERA. Doing real good. I really like the pickup. In hindsight, it really looks like he's definitively better than Edison Volquez. Looking offensively, there's a few things to look at. Drew Stubbs had a couple glimpses last week of doing a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Still batting .216, so he's hovering right above the Mendoza line.
Awful.
Not exactly what you want out of your, starting center fielder, everyday center fielder.
He does score a lot, though, Kelly.
He does score a lot of runs.
Third on the team in runs.
I have a feeling if you talk to Dusty Baker about it,
who seems to be doing much better after his heart murmur.
Which is good. Irregular heartbeat, I believe. He would probably point out, like he always does with those type guys, he scores a lot of runs, and I'll bring this up
74
right here.
runs.
I have a feeling he may lead the team in runs.
He's in third, 74 runs. Phillips has 84. Bruce is 87. So he's not far behind, but yeah, he is third. The Reds stat, Kelly, I know you've seen it throughout the season, and some others have as well. Basically, when Drew Stubbs scores, the Reds win. There's only been a few games when he has scored and the Reds lost, so that's always a positive. Stat-wise, Bruce leading the team with homers, 34.
RBIs, 97.
97, almost breaking 100. He's in fifth in the whole NL in RBIs. Stubbs, 30 stolen bases, Kelly. Next closest, 15. We haven't ran as much as we have in the past 3-4 seasons, but that's always a positive. Knowing, you're your 7 guy.
And he doesn't leave anything to be desired with his defensive play in center field. I mean, I literally a few weeks ago, and I don't like to think of myself at least as being an irrational fan. I try very hard not to be. I was ready to just say, cut Stubbs. Don't even send him down to the minors. Just get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess when you stand back and you look at it, if he scores runs, I mean, he bats .216. He strikes out all the time. He looks horrible.
Yeah.
In seriously important moments, he just consistently doesn't do anything. So it's tough to say. How many games do we have left here?
Let's see. I'm got the schedule pulled up here. I know they end the season in beginning of October. The final 3 will be against the Cardinals. They obviously have one more today against the Dodgers, who the Dodgers, Kelly, are obviously in a race for the West. Now that they're playing the Reds, you thought the Reds would maybe kind of ease it off the pedal, or maybe it was they're going to wait till they quench. They quenched last night. Maybe they'll slowly ease off the pedal to give their guys some rest, which could have been a positive for the next couple series if this would ever load. Do you have it in front
Today
of you?
we play against the Dodgers. Homer Bailey starting against our man Aaron Harang. Harang's 9-10 with a 3.8 ERA this season. Is that what you were looking for?
I was looking for the overall, but no, that works too. Here we go. I got the Dodgers today, off tomorrow, then Brewers 3, Pirates in 3, and then wrapping up the season, 6. Cards 3. So we have 9-10 games left.
And we've already clinched. I mean, what do we do from here? Do we start
hang
to
out
rest?
and we party?
Is that right?
We fist pump, we rest.
Invite Jose Rio back to town.
Invite Jose and Charlie Sheen in town. Have yourself a 1991 party.
Okay.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
So we call up. Do we start to play some younger guys?
I think we do. I think they already started doing that. If you caught the game against the Cubs, the final game against the Cubs on Thursday, they swept the Cubs. Just so all you Cubs fans know that. Again, you all are awful. And 100 years, going to be 200 once it's all said and done. 5-3. They played basically the the Louisville Bats team. They had Gregoris out there,
which is bad.
Huh?
Which is not a good thing.
Not a good thing, especially. But then again, the Cubs are a AAA team, basically. So it was a good battle. It was 5-3. Reds came back in the 7th inning run. But they had their only main guy, he's not even main, was first baseman Miguel Cairo. Just a main. He's been on the team all forever, obviously. He was the only true guy that was in Todd Frazier. Other than that, it was all the guys you really may not even heard of.
On the 20th. I'm bringing it up here.
That's fine. Bring it up. But yeah, the Reds are rolling. We were talking about it on the way up here. We got 384-1450, Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz on. If you all want to get in here, we're starting to show off, obviously, with the Reds. They did just clinch the NL Central, so we're going to get plenty of Louisville, Kentucky talk, as we only have Farrell Elliott on at 11 to get our fantasy. So we have plenty of time for Louisville, Kentucky, so we wanted to break it in with the Reds. 384-1450. Also, Kelly, you can start texting us on the Lotus Gunworks text line, 414-1450. Do that as well.
Shoot us a text.
Shoot Adam a text. They go straight to Adam. So Kelly, vulgar texts are fine.
We'd prefer they not be extremely vulgar. There's a couple things that are off limits.
There's not many out of limits.
There's not many things that are off limits, as we discussed this morning with Adam.
Yeah,
trying to feel him out, see if certain things offended him. He reminded me, that he's been on the internet before. And
we didn't ask
many
him.
Things that are not offensive.
We
to
stopped
him.
from there when he said he's been on the internet before. We didn't want to go any further.
He pretty much wanted us to know that there's basically nothing he could see or hear that would offend him.
Once you've seen what the internet
we can't hear
you.
Turn it on.
I can hear him.
Oh yeah, I don't have a headset on. I'm sorry.
Once you've seen what the internet has to offer, you've seen it all.
I don't know what he said.
Once you've seen what the internet has to offer, you've seen it all, he says.
You're not kidding.
Yeah, that's true.
So for all you new-aged technology freaks out there that have never been on the internet,
desensitized, that you've just seen everything.
The Reds.
With the Reds.
So you were on the way up here. That's what I was saying before I went to the text line call on. On the way up here, we talked about playoffs. I mentioned it yesterday, a team I don't want, really the only team I'm scared of in the NL is the Phillies. As long as they don't make the playoffs, I'm pretty happy. But for the teams that are potentially making it, made it for the Braves, the Dodgers, the Cardinals,
you don't want
the Giants, the Nationals.
Is that what you're saying?
Who do you want at round one out of those teams, and who do you not want?
Looks like the Dodgers are not going to make it.
They're 4 back.
They're 2.5.
That's plenty of time.
3 back from. Yeah, you're right. I'm
not going to say
3 games back from the wild card. You're right. Yeah. I wouldn't want to face the Dodgers, like I was saying as we came in here, similar to your Roy Halladay theory, which I assume is where you were going with the Phillies.
He's not even. He has came back, I believe, if I'm correct.
He pitched against the Reds about a month ago.
Yeah, I'm not. Just something about the Phillies just scare me.
I agree, but I don't want to face the Dodgers for the sole fact that they have Clayton Kershaw, and then they're number 2.
They have Hanley Ramirez. They have Matt Kemp. The Dodgers have a good team. I agree.
They also have Josh Beckett. Who else did they get from the Red Sox? Gonzalez?
Adrian Gonzalez.
I believe they got Adrian Gonzalez from the Red Sox. So, I mean, I don't want to face is it a Steven Strasburg less Nationals really that intimidating?
No, not to me.
Do we want to face the Braves?
I could deal with the Braves.
Let's see who the Braves aces are. I thought they were Jair Jurgens and maybe Tommy Hanson. I may be way off with that. Let's see.
I got the Dodgers right here. I'm looking at the pictures. They have Chad Billingsley, Joe Blanton, a guy that UK fans should be familiar of.
Tim Hudson has 15 wins for the Braves.
The Braves.
Okay. Sorry, you're saying Joe Blanton is with the Dodgers?
Joe Blanton.
Chad Billingsley. So they got a deep rotation.
You're forgetting Aaron Harang.
Aaron Harang's a solid. He is.
He was our one for what? 8 years?
Probably about
7-8
years. And he's still.
So the Dodgers are obviously the team you don't want to face. Who's the team you would be totally up to face in that round 1?
Sounds ridiculous. I think it's the Nationals.
I think I'm right there with you, the Nationals.
Call us in.
Or the Braves. I'm okay with the Braves. I know our KentuckySports.co Reds beat writer of diehard Reds fan, but is also a diehard Braves fan, would be kind of pissed at me right now. But I just don't see the Braves doing too much.
Not worried about another former I believe.
Once they
Tim
took
Hudson.
Paul Yanish and started him, I realized the Braves are a joke. So
a joke.
I would take the Braves as well. 3-8-4, like you're saying, 3-8-4, 14-50. Team I don't want to face that would make the playoffs. More in line, I'm not really worried about the Dodgers for some reason. I think I'd rather skip the not the Phillies, the Giants. It's a good pitching staff.
I don't think they're in though.
They clinched last night.
Okay, they clinched last night. Okay. I was thinking of the Dodgers. I honestly think there's got to be someone out there listening who hears us both agree and go, yeah, bring on the Nationals, and think these guys are idiots.
I think I'm going to go with the Braves.
Okay.
I'm going with the Braves.
I was going to say, call us, 502-384-1450. If you think Gio Gonzalez and his 20-8 record with a 2.84 ERA is a little more than what we're giving him credit for, I mean,
pretty duty.
They've got an ace other than Strasburg. He's 20-4. I'm sorry, he's 20-8.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I don't know. I really don't know who I want to play. I'm glad that this is the year.
He only pitches one game, maybe 2 in a series. Either team I think would both be okay with, the Nationals and Braves.
But you were telling me on the way here that you think the Reds can beat any team.
I do. I'm not scared of it. In the best 7 series, as long as they didn't get swept, maybe the first 3, then I don't think any team can beat them in 7 series. Let's go to the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline. Our man, the myth, the legend, Carolina.
Well, first of all, Kelly, you got to watch out for the Braves. This is the Chipper Farewell Tour, and it's been known that people who go on those tours like that in the playoffs get red hot. And they got Tim Hudson, who used to pitch for the Oakland A's, so you got to watch out for them. But I think that the World Series winner is good. Y'all hadn't even talked about these two teams today. It's going to come out of the AL East. Can you believe the race the Yankees and the Orioles are having, the extra inning games? I believe the Orioles are only 2 back of setting a record for most extra inning victories in a season is consecutive. I believe they've got 14 or 15 consecutive extra inning games, and the Yankees picked up at the time. He's my favorite baseball player, which is Ichiro Suzuki.
Yeah.
And he was batting like 264, 259. I looked in the paper today. He is batting 294 with 9 home runs. He also stole 4 bases the other night in a game. And he has had, I know, this week about 4 multi-hit games. So to me, that's where your winner's going to come from, because those guys are facing the pressure every day, and they're coming through in the clutch.
It is very amazing that the Orioles, and I guess what, Buck Showalter.
Yeah, did a great job.
That they're doing this. That I agree with you. Great call, Steve. I mean, who Who's going to win that? The Yankees or the Orioles? Who would the Reds rather face? Carolina? Do you think it would be easier for us to be because we're going to make the World Series?
Yeah, easily.
Well, y'all are not going to make the World Series. Either Washington or Atlanta's going to knock y'all off.
No way,
because
Carolina.
Of the fact that I used to work for the Reds, and I don't like them.
Oh,
So,
why not? Tell us about that.
yeah.
Well, I was in their minor league system during the Big Red Machine days in '77, and I was in Shelby. And just the people they had in there then that they brought down, they were a very cheap organization at that time, especially with their minor league teams. And I just did not care for their front office people and everything in their minor league that came around and all. I've always been, since I was a little boy, I've always liked the Yankees because they had my two favorite ball players, Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra. Nobody can say any bad things about either one of those when they were on the field.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I agree with you there. Those are two of the greatest of all time. And if you grew up the Yankees fan, I won't say you're bandwagon like everybody else in these parts. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But I do, like you said, you got to let the grudge go of Carolina, kind of like Mitch Barnhart needs to let the grudge go of Petrino. Hey, bring him on to Lexington. You got to let the grudge go with the Reds. The Reds, Carolina, are the real deal. There's no way the Braves or Nationals are getting them.
Well, one thing, too, being in North Carolina, I got to see a lot of minor league baseball. I actually got to see Chipper Jones play in Class A ball with the Durham Bulls when they were the Braves farm system. They had Javi Lopez and him and all, and it was just I enjoyed that, growing up. And I don't know about up here, but we used to get one team every night on television through the fabulous Ted Turner was the Braves. And they got one player I think should be in the Hall of Fame that didn't, and that's Dale Murphy. I always liked Dale Murphy. I thought he was a real good.
Carolina, thank you very much for the call. Great points you made about the Yankees and the Orioles. And I agree with you. You got to say that an American League East team definitely has a bigger payroll and budget than the Reds program. But we got to go against a break. Thank you very much for the call, and we'll be right back.
It's the Weekend Sports Buzz. Tell us your thoughts on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Where we have myself, Kelly Patrick, Tyler Bloyd with us this weekend talking about Louisville football, Kentucky football, and the Cincinnati Reds. This segment is brought to you by Franklin Taxes and Accounting, services residents and business owners nationwide. We offer financial planning, tax preparation services, estate planning, LLC and corporation setup, and forensic auditing. We can help any corporation or small business with payroll, monthly financials, bookkeeping, and much more. We are located in southern Indiana at 611 Watt Street, Jeffersonville. Contact our friendly and dedicated CPA, Marcy Franklin, who has over 15 years of experience at 502-424-1179, or check out our website, franklintaxes.com, for further information. We are committed to providing expert advice and meeting every client's individual needs. I believe we're going to get someone on the line with us here. Do we have Mark? Mark, are you there?
Yeah, hey, how's it going, Ryan?
Doing good. How are you doing? How are you doing this morning? Once again, it's Mark. Mark Blankenbaker from cardsandcats.com helps us out on the Weekend Sports Buzz a lot. Mark is actually down in the Miami area. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. I'm actually on the road right now, and just trying to navigate. I ended up at the Jets-Dolphins game by accident. I ended up on one of these toll roads down here. It was in the middle of a rainstorm, and I was like, just totally blew it on the directions. But,
Something else you totally blew was the score
What's that?
prediction of your Cardinals FIU game.
Exactly. No, I know. I mean, I was really hoping that the Cards would put it together, and I thought that they would finally play a complete game. But they played like their heads were in their old neighborhoods last night. They didn't they didn't seem focused or sharp in any phase of the game, really. I mean, they gave up some long kickoff returns. Teddy threw 2 interceptions. And the defense, the defense played okay, but it still wasn't, Charlie Strong type defense that we've seen the previous 2 years. We haven't seen that defense all year.
No, I agree with you. I mean, there was not a lot to feel great about coming away from the game, other than the Cards, are 4-0. So, I mean, what are your main areas of concern regarding the team? You said the defense didn't seem to do that bad. Are you real concerned about the fact that Teddy Bridgewater is no longer perfect?
No, I'm not concerned about Teddy or the offense, really. I mean, every single team, is going to have an off game, and you just hope that, that the team plays well enough to, make a play, which they did on special teams. They made up for, a little lackluster offense with a muff punt, fumble recovery. And my areas of concern really are just focus with this team. Like, when this team is focused and giving maximum effort and maximum mental effort, it seems like they're unstoppable. But then, if they just kind of show up and mail it in, that you can see them still win games, but it's just not on the level, that that they can perform. And, I just don't know if we're going to see that happen for a whole game this year, to be honest. Like, that's my main concern, is that, they're going to go out there against a team that, is going to, they're going to be even or outplay them because the Cardinals just aren't focused.
Mark, I wanted to obviously we have Mark Blankenbaker, my co-host on the Saturday Weekend Sports Buzz 9-11 every Saturday. Mark, I wanted to ask you 2 things. I talked to Kelly on the way up here. The fourth quarter has now been kind of a sketchy mark for the Cardinals. If that's kind of one thing I've noticed throughout the season. That, and how was the Louisville crowd? Obviously the team has around 30 guys that are from the Miami and outside of the Miami area. How was the crowd for the the family down there?
Well, the crowd, the Louisville crowd was awesome, and in fact, I mean, if it wasn't for the FIU student section, you wouldn't even heard any sort of cheer going for FIU the entire night. It was a great crowd, and and I think partly the reason because of that is because they got like 7 or 8 inches of rain. I mean, the campus was almost entirely flooded out, and if you were going to the game, you had to really want to be there because I had to roll up my socks up to my knees or my pants up to my knees. I actually rode up the press elevator without shoes and socks on because it was just so wet. It was an absolute quagmire around the stadium. So a lot of people, I think, your casual FIU fan did not go. But if you're a Louisville fan, you traveled all that way, or if your child or family member played on the Louisville squad, you were in attendance. And as far as the fourth quarter, you look at the third and fourth quarter for Louisville, they didn't play that great, but at the same time, they controlled the ball late in the fourth quarter and for much of the third quarter, and that was really the difference of the game. Were they explosive? No, but they didn't have to be. They did what they could to win the game, and if it wasn't for 2 Teddy Bridgewater interceptions, that game gets out of hand.
True. I agree with you. Another thing that was interesting to me was the old guy from Teddy Bridgewater's high school came in, E.J. Hilliard. And, man, what an impressive performance did he have. He finished 9 for 10, 82 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions. And just overall looked very athletic, handled he was in the pocket scrambling and then would just make an amazing pass. I mean, is FIU maybe better than we gave him credit for? Maybe this true freshman E.J. Hilliard's actually pretty good. I mean, do you think that it's more Louisville beat them, almost beat themselves, or that FIU's maybe better than we gave him credit for?
Well, I think FIU's better than we gave him credit for, but I also think that FIU had more of a reason to play with maximum focus. I think the Louisville players, they came out and I feel like their heads were halfway in the crowd with their families and halfway on the field. And FIU, they're at home. That's what they're supposed to do. They came out and executed. And, yeah, Miami Northwestern, that was Teddy Bridgewater's backup last year, E.J. Hilliard. So we need to go find who's the starting quarterback now, because apparently they just grow quarterbacks down there. That was a Pat White-esque performance. He did it running and passing. And in fact, I think he had about 80 yards and rushes called back on holding calls. That really, if his team just lets go, he was going to make the play anyway without the hold. So, if you're FIU, you might have found even Medlock before he went down was playing really well. But, now you might want to take a hard look at E.J. Hilliard as your starting quarterback.
Certainly. Mark, we really appreciate you coming on. I know you're on the road trying to get back to Louisville. Thanks for your insight as to how the game went.
All right, man. Well, I'm actually headed to the Destin area for the week, and I'm going to go to the Pittsburgh area. But yeah, I'll get there.
Well, have a good rest of the weekend and be safe out there.
Mark's just whipping the Audi, enjoying life in Florida. It might be a little rainy, but it's always better than Kentucky. So, Mark, appreciate you taking a few minutes. Oh, Mark was still on. I was actually hoping Mark wasn't on so I could kind of make fun of you there. Mark, thanks, man.
That was good.
I didn't know he was still on.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Fortunately, you didn't get too far into your bashing of him, as you normally do, especially off air.
Off air, especially on Sundays when he's not here. Off air.
I know.
Yeah, but really, he made some good points. The area concerns on Louisville. What are your thoughts, Kelly? You watched this game on the most awful footage we could have watched on ESPN3 when you saw the multiple plays 5 or 6 times. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you had that issue.
I did, yeah. That was bad. That's a whole different issue. But the fact that we can't watch our top 20 team here in Louisville, it's not as if it was a home game that was blacked out. That is bad. We have to go to ESPN3 and hope you have you subscribe to Time Warner and that you can see it. And then it's a horrible feed. I said yesterday, Tyler you didn't seem to agree with me. ESPN3 altogether is a failed experiment.
I don't think so. I really don't, because in the years past and during basketball season, when I've watched Kentucky, when I've watched Louisville, when I've watched other programs on ESPN of the 3, it's been fine. But there's just a few games here and there that are messed up. One of them was last night. Maybe it was the weather. I don't know. I have no idea, considering that Adam and Matt can broadcast our television show from anywhere with no issues in a national ESPN. Yeah, I would agree.
I've seen ESPN3 before for basketball games, and it's never perfect.
It's never perfect, but when you have the option of watching multiple games that you aren't going to get to watch because they're getting blacked out, like your Cardinals last night, you should be happy. You wouldn't have got to watch it anywhere else.
That shouldn't be the case.
Well, I know that shouldn't be the case. It should be broadcasted just like Kentucky should in your home state every game. I don't care who you're playing. It should be in your game. I don't care if you're in California. You should be able to watch who you want to watch.
ESPN3 sucks.
You just blatant sucks.
It does.
That's fine.
I don't see anything positive about it. I'm glad I could have illegally watched this game somehow on some website. I don't do that, but I could have, and I would have been just as happy with it. That's a bad deal. I don't like it. I don't like anything about it. Whoever's doing the negotiations, there's no way. College basketball is a little different. If we have to watch a couple games like that, I can somewhat deal with it. There's 12 games in the football season. Our team's ranked in the top 20 nationally. We should be able to watch the game.
28-21, though, Kelly. You pulled it out. Like you said, all that matters in the end, right, is you're 4-0.
That's not all that matters.
It's not all that matters. It does, right? It is.
You're 4-0. I'm very happy at the beginning of the season. You would have said to me, you can be 4-0. I would have just jumped at the opportunity.
If you weren't 4-0 after this, honestly, to me, your season's, and to me, it's a bust already. Okay. If you weren't 4-0. I knew you were beating North Carolina. Yeah, it got a lot closer than it should have, but that's your one concern is the fourth quarter, which I believe the coaching staff already knows that. We don't have to tell them. They already know. That's something they will work on. Some stats I'm trying to pull up here right there. Some team stats, Kelly. First downs, 21-17, Louisville's favor. So obviously, FIU could move the ball. Maybe a little defensive issue there. 100 passing, right on the dot. Louisville 194, FIU 198. You couldn't be any closer there. Rushing yards. Not on here. Rush yards. There we go. Yeah, 129 versus 128.
Yeah.
Your overall yardage are what? Separated by 6 yards, 5 yards?
Uh-huh.
Pretty well-balanced game for both teams. Maybe. You're right. Maybe I'm kind of leaning in the same boat I was with Western. This team's better than people think.
Better, but they're still 1-3. And, they're in the Sun Belt. So, they're not that good. Louisville should have beat them more handily. There's no question about it. I'm sure I've got,
like Mark said.
I should have people calling in, saying I'm crazy for trying to put a positive spin on this based on my close cards friends and their takes on it. I mean, I have some friends who are saying, Teddy was a Heisman candidate before this. He is no longer in the race. I mean, this is a bad deal.
He had one interception.
Button. 2 interceptions.
Two
interceptions.
When was the second one? Did I miss the second one?
Second half.
I did turn it off in the second half because I was.
Yeah, he threw 2 interceptions. He threw for 2 touchdowns. He also ran for another touchdown.
Here we go.
It's not the worst game in the world. His completion percentage was like 54% instead of like 90%.
19 for 36. Yeah, he had the 2 interceptions. 19 for 36, 194 yards. One guy I like to see who kind of had a better game than he has been. Only 47 yards, but Parker got in the mix last night.
A little bit. He had a couple nice big plays for a game that there wasn't a ton of passing yards.
How about Andrew Smith and that catch?
Smith, yeah.
How about that one-handed catch?
That was amazing.
That was. So
between him and the other guy, Copeland, Louisville's had some just highlight reel catches this year. I mean, that first drive against Kentucky, Copeland had just that amazing catch. I mean, Louisville's receivers have some hands. Teddy's got the targets. They just got to get it kind of going a little better. And my primary area of concern is still the defense. One thing that we haven't mentioned is before the game, there was some real bad weather issues, and the FIU administration forced Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator, some of the other coaches, to leave the press box for safety issues. So while Teddy Bridgewater is used to having the plays called from the press box, if you've went to any games or seen him on TV, you notice that the white-haired offensive coordinator, Sean Watson, is not on the sideline anymore. He's up in the press box calling the plays. Last night, frantically, they had to force him down right before the game. He was calling the plays from the sideline, so it's a little different. I'm not making a complete excuse,
just
but
really trying to downplay you start. It was like 14-14 first half.
Yes,
20. Then Cardinals came out strong, which they have in basically every game in the third quarter, if I'm correct, for most part of the season.
Sounds right.
Put up 2 more touchdowns and get the lead, but then that fourth quarter, Kelly, no points again. Just something about that fourth quarter. And one thing that does kind of, should be highlighted is the quarterback for FIU, Jake Medlock, was killing Louisville early. Mm-hmm. Went out after halftime, broke his foot, didn't return. Obviously, E.J. Hilliard had a game, but when you have a true freshman coming in who, if you didn't know, he succeeded your boy Teddy Bridgewater at Northwestern High School.
I did know, and I actually just talked to Mark about that.
Yeah, did you? That's probably when I was running back and forth.
That's okay. You were running back and forth. Man, that guy looked good.
He did, but when he came in, he still's not Jake Medlock, in my opinion.
He looked better.
He's mobile.
He looked
very mobile.
I liked Mark's comparison of Pat White. I mean, he looked very mobile. He would stop and then see a guy wide open on the other side and just rock it. I mean, that guy looked great. I know that there was not much. He was a third-string quarterback going into that.
Not the passer Medlock was, obviously. Medlock hit some receivers in that first quarter downfield that were right on the spot.
And some guys
Newton
dropped them.
Would pray to pass like Medlock.
Oh, don't even get me started.
We're going to get
Morgan.
started about that here in hour 2. We're going to try to stick to Louisville for hour 1. We are going. Let's go ahead and hit that break. We'll hit the break. We'll come back and we'll finish some more Louisville talk. If you want to get in on it, 384-1450. I know there's some Louisville fans out there with their own thoughts about this. Maybe some fourth quarter issues. Maybe they just want to see Teddy Bridgewater go for 400 a game. I don't know. Give us a shout. We'll be right back at Weekend Sports Buzz.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
We're back here at the Weekend Sports Buzz. Give us a shout, 384-1450, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line. And if you're on the road, maybe you can't, or on the road, that's illegal to text and drive. If you're in your office and you're listening, you can't call, but you can shoot us a text now on the Lotus Gunworks text line, 414-1450. So it's pretty simple, 384-1450 to call, 414-1450 to text us, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line, Lotus Gunworks. And we are always presented to you by livingforless.org And smart shoppers, get on livingforless.org. Check them out. Great half-off deals. There's no reason to get out in the Louisville, Southern Indiana area without checking livingforless.org first. You could get 50% off things like Roosters, Joe's OK, Bayou. If you're going golfing before the season ends, Champions Point, Covered Bridge over here in Indiana. Great courses, not far from downtown. So check it out, livingforless.org. Appreciate them. Another couple things I wanted to just quickly get out there is get on your if you have an iPhone or Android app, and you should download you're on the road, you can't pick up 1450 outside of, certain areas. Download 1450 to Sports Buzz's iPhone Android app. You can listen anywhere in the world. It's perfect, clear coverage. I know we have people listening in Florida. We have people listening up in Michigan with the app. They said it sounds great, crystal clear, just live, just like you're here in studio with us, as well as the KentuckySports.co, KentuckySports.co phone app. Search KSCO Sports. You can get all the updates right there at your finger, podcasts, all of our past shows here in 1450. It's pretty sweet, so check those out. You will definitely enjoy it. Kelly, a little bit more Louisville talk here leading into the top of the hour when we will have Farrell Elliott on the line, talking fantasy football as always. Me and Kelly are both 2-0 in the Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship League, 204 teams. We're coming for you. Watch out. My poop is Ronnie and Brown. Kelly Patrick, going by Kelly Patrick. Very creative team name. Watch out for us.
I don't need catchy jingles or gimmicks to. I concentrate on the substance I put on the field.
Just Kelly Patrick.
Kelly Patrick.
You are the substance of what goes on the field.
Yes. I mean, I don't know. You can come up with your fancy nicknames. I'm 2-0. I'm actually in 3 fantasy football leagues this year. 2-0 in all 3.
There you go. We'll talk about that in the top of the hour with our man Farrell because he loves to hear our cockiness of our fantasy football thing. Back to this game, there were some quotes coming out. From Charlie Strong, almost a joker. Charlie Strong, we were able to finish. Your defense looked good. I disagree on the finishing line of the offense. Am I wrong, Kelly? Am I wrong?
We finished. We won.
No
it was
points.
our first road game of the season.
That's true.
We came away with a win.
You finished in the
I
third.
don't think that Louisville is, Alabama.
No, nobody does. Alabama's a pro team. They're on another level.
I don't think that Louisville is, that type of team. They're top 20. Is it warranted? Yeah, I think probably. I still don't know. But you got to say that we did finish. It's a positive reaction from everyone when you leave the locker room afterward, and everybody's happy. I saw some tweets from some of the players, happy to get a win, things like that. You got to be happy when you win.
One of the tweets from one of the Louisville media members, I can't remember exactly who it was down there. He said he was walking past and one of the Cards walked out of the locker room and just gave 4-0, baby.
Yeah.
They're all happy to be here. As this quote from Bridgewater, a couple quotes actually, he said he gave some credit to his former teammate. Here's one of them. This means a lot for the program. We're 4-0. We're happy. Obviously, I'm sure that's the all-around thoughts from the Cardinals. He also went on to talk about a little bit about his former teammate, E.J. Hilliard, who took over. E.J. came in and did a great job. I take my hat off to him, which, he's not lying there. What'd you say, 9 for 10, Kelly? Something like
Finished
that?
9 for 10, yeah.
Great rushing stats, I believe, as well.
Well, he had a few, like Mark Blankenbaker pointed out, he had a few great runs that were called back due to holding.
Yeah, that's true.
He actually finished with -5 rushing yards on the game.
Ooh.
But,
that first season, what caught me off was that one long one that he had in that third quarter that did come back from hold.
But some of the athleticism he displayed just to keep the play alive, and then he would find somebody. I mean, he is a top-level athlete. I'm not going to say he's, as good as Teddy Bridgewater, but he did his best Teddy Bridgewater impersonation last night, finishing very Teddy Bridgewater-esque, which is a new popular term going around the whole country these days.
The whole country.
Yeah.
I prefer Teddy Turnover. He only had 2, first 2 of the season, so that from last year is kind of slowly going away, but I still like it. It kind of reminds me of, turnover in the morning, Teddy Turnover. Good old Teddy.
I like calling Louisville's offense the Ted spread, which was coined by Mike Rutherford of Card Chronicle.
There you go. Mike does a great job over there. Check him out as well. I'm looking up and down the stat lines a little bit more here. Time of possession, right on. 29-37 for Louisville. FIU 30-23. So just 1 minute, a minute difference there, or just in time possession. Turnovers 2-1 for Louisville. Did lose that one, but big difference. They won the game. Punts 3 for a team each. The stat line, Kelly, for the team are pretty close. One thing that is different, stands out to me, is 5 versus 11 penalties. Louisville is a lot more disciplined, obviously, than this FIU team. One of them I did see the Cyprian defensive backer, safety, linebacker, one of the 3 for FIU. Guy looked good. He laid a knock on one of your receivers inbounds that they called a penalty, roughing or leading or something with the helmet. I don't think so.
And the commentators were saying that too.
I'm glad you brought up those guys too. The commentators, We could do better. Just never doing it. We could step in and be better. I mean, how many times did the guy say he crossed the goal line. He crossed the goal line. He crossed the goal line. Yeah, he crossed the goal line. Do you know he crossed the goal line?
I was a little confused because ESPN3 is so horrible that one time they had 12 men on the field, okay? And I think my son was walking up to me and I had to tend to something, and I looked back. I'm pretty sure either they were called for 12 men on the field 2 times in a row on basically the identical play, or ESPN3
I think it was
replayed
2 times in a row, or ESPN3 replayed.
I don't know which one it was.
I saw a
so
tweet.
They may have repeated the things.
I was watching Twitter at that time, but actually I know exactly what you're talking about. It was back-to-back plays. Moving on to not Kentucky. Looking into your next game, Kelly, that would be
at Southern Miss, who got smoked by Western.
Is that this weekend? That is September 29th. Yes, this weekend.
Yep.
September 29th at Southern Miss. CBS Sports Network, so I'm assuming another ESPN3 game. It'll be at 8 p.m.
I doubt it'll be on ESPN3. I bet we'll be able to watch it.
Saturday night at 8 p.m. That's prime time. Well, WHS is not getting cut into. Sorry, it's not. It's going to be on ESPN3, I'm assuming. Anyways, they just lost last night to
Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. You're familiar with them,
I'm
aren't
very
you?
familiar
You're
with that team.
familiar with them.
Very familiar.
I think, right?
They packed it out.
That's right. They did beat Kentucky this year on a last-second overtime trick play. That's right.
They did. You weren't here last week to really talk much about it. We did talk to all show, but it's a little different when you're on the road.
Yeah, it's much easier to be here in studio.
Really make fun of me right beside me, but it's just fine. We did lose Western. If you didn't see a picture of Western's football stadium last night, Kelly, there wasn't an empty seat. Their berm was packed.
Awesome.
Their track around it was packed. That's
awesome.
They loved it. It's cool. I'm okay with it. I'm sure Morehead State packed it out when they beat Louisville that first game of the season 2 years ago.
I love how you just pull out all the stops. I mean,
to.
Should we start talking about when Kentucky's been put on probation in the past?
Should we talk about Louisville's Pro Bowl?
I mean, I'm just saying.
Do you want to
do
this?
Are we talking about this year, or are we talking about the past?
We got a full hour. Do you want to do this?
I don't really want to do it.
Okay.
I'm talking about something very relevant. Kentucky lost to Western Kentucky. Mind you, on a trick play.
We're going to talk
in
about
overtime.
That never again, because we're going to talk about Kentucky's loss yesterday. That was just absurd as well.
Oh my God!
But SMU, Kelly, Southern Miss. What are you thinking about next weekend? A tough game down at a tough environment always.
They're 0-3.
They're 0-3.
I'm sorry. They're 0-4 now.
Yes, they lost last night. 0-4. They're awful.
I'm sorry. They are just now.
They're part of
They're now 0-3.
They're part of your terrible stretch of scheduling, which consists of all 12 games. If you don't win this game, in my opinion, that's that game that I said you're going to blunder on. I don't think it's going to be this weekend. I think you're going to come in. You might see that Mark Blankenbaker type of score this weekend, not 49-3, but maybe a 38-7 type of thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly should happen, even though it is at Southern Miss. Ghost of, I think, Brett Favre, right?
Brett Favre.
So, I mean, I'm looking at Southern Miss schedule. They play Boise State right after Louisville. So they've got, they played Nebraska the first week. They've had a few ranked teams on their schedule. But, yeah, Louisville should beat Southern Miss this upcoming week.
I think it's going to be.
We'll see. I don't expect Louisville to lose against them. At this point, what I am predicting, call us at 502-384-1450 if you have any comments on this. I'm predicting at this point for Louisville loses on the road this season 2 games.
Where?
At Pitt.
Oh my goodness!
And
if you lose to
Rutgers.
Pittsburgh, you don't deserve anything. If you lose to Pittsburgh, you better not be in the top 25. They are not a good team. I know they start off strong. They had a good game, but look, they lost. They're not good. They're not.
They beat Virginia Tech, who's the 13th team in the country.
Wow! Congrats.
That doesn't do anything for you.
What's Virginia Tech done really in the last 5 to 6, 7 years, other than playing the ACC that is usually not good?
They lost to Youngstown State. Pittsburgh did.
Good. That's very good. Youngstown State, the Pirates or the Penguins of Northern Ohio.
Road games are not easy for anybody. I'm not claiming Louisville is a anything more than they are. I'm just giving it to you real. I'm going to say Louisville finishes the season 8-4 or 9-3.
Where? I'm a Kentucky fan. Where are these 3 losses coming from?
At Syracuse, we might lose to Cincy.
You might lose to Rutgers on the road. That last game and that's just a might.
Might lose at Syracuse. I mean, you never know.
I just don't think
this team does not look invincible. Did you walk away from last night thinking, man, those Cards look invincible?
No, but I walked away with it as, wow, those Cards are going to win every game because their schedule sucks, and they're just going to have those type of games all season, and then you're going to squeak them out, like I told you on the way up here. They're going to have a few more of those.
Okay, we'll see. They're 4-0. I'm happy as can be. Happy as a lark.
Yeah, happy as a lark.
I'm happy as a lark. Louisville's
Let's get to the
4-0. Kentucky's 1-3.
Let's get to the buzz line. Brian the Insider, what's going on?
Hey, guys, great. How you guys doing this morning?
I'm not doing great. Your boy Kelly right here is living a dream.
Well, I got some comment. I'm listening to the program and on the iPhone, which up in here in Ohio is crystal clear. Love it. It's a great asset to just hit that little button from 10 to 12 on Sunday, so I love it. A couple comments on ESPN3. I couldn't agree with Kelly more. It sucks. Years ago when I lived in Louisville, we had all the games would be local, even the away games. So we've taken a step backwards, I think, in programming in this technology age. And I was out watching my computer. I pay for every service I could possibly get, and still I got to watch it on a bad feed. So that was bad. But I want to comment a little bit on Tyler's comments about if we'd have lost last night, Louisville would have lost, it would have been a bust season. I mean, 3-1. The parity in college football is apparent by looking at what Western's doing down the road. I mean, there are a lot of good football teams around, and when you have to go play in their home, I mean, it's just tough to run the table. It's just amazing to me that if we had lost one game in the process, and Louisville football sitting at 3-1, get to go to a nice bowl game somewhere with a nice season, that could be considered a bust. I'm more concerned. I think Tyler ought to be more concerned with the fact that here's a major college down the road in Lexington in the SEC, and the best Kentucky can put out is Morgan Newton. My God, I mean, you could go up and down the streets in Louisville high school football and pick out a better high school quarterback to put in, and then the product Kentucky's putting out on the field. So, I don't think we should be worried too much about the state of Louisville football, but I think it's totally embarrassing to UK and I went to the UK game 2 weeks ago when they lost to Western with my wife, who's a big UK fan, and I couldn't believe that the crowd wasn't very good. But then when I read in the paper the next morning that Coach Cal had a charity basketball game going at the same time, and 10,000 people. I mean, that's disrespectful to the football program at UK. And if they're not going to be any more competitive than that, they ought to just close the program.
I will say this. It was not the same time. It went off at 2 o'clock. It ended by 4. There was still a 3-hour difference between kickoffs. So those fans that were there and didn't make it over to the football game, that's what's a little disappointing. But on the thing of me not talking Kentucky, I know there's a big issue going on. We were going to talk about that in the second hour. Maybe I used a harsh word on a bust season, but in my opinion, Brian, I think Louisville is that team that is most likely to go undefeated. Maybe one loss. That's why I think it's a bust. It would have been more of a bust, not a bust season, just a very big disappointment, especially 2 years in a row to FIU. A little harsh of words, I guess.
Well, what I want to point out is that there's good programs up and down the street. At Louisville football, I wouldn't want to have to go play Western right now. Another comment I wanted to make is that the game next week is on CBS Sports Network, so we will not have to put up with ESPN3 next week. The game against Southern Miss is going to be exclusively on CBS Sports Network, which is covered on most cable providers. But I just think the parity in college football is a lot better than people realize. Look at what the MAC schools did yesterday. I mean, they beat the Big East in 2 games. I mean, my alma mater, Ohio University, beat the Big Ten, Penn State, the first week of the year. The MAC schools are as good as anybody. Yeah. And I think it's a lot tougher to run the table than we're all thinking because Louisville's got a good team. But I saw a lot of weakness in the Louisville program. They got a nice young team that's getting better and better. But running the table, I think, is a lot harder to do against any program, even though it doesn't look like Louisville's got the greatest schedule in the world. You still got to go to other people's universities, and these are still college kids that have all the ups and downs that young kids have, and it's going to be very difficult for them to run the table.
Yeah, it'll be difficult for any team to run the table in the country, and I think managing the expectations of the Louisville fan base is what's difficult. A lot of Louisville fans are now expecting Teddy to maybe move to move to the top of the Heisman candidate, race, which I think is a little maybe premature or irrational. But Brian, we certainly appreciate you calling in. Any horse racing news you have before we get?
Yeah, I was going to say one interesting thing going on in horse racing, guys, is that Churchill has asked for next year from the Kentucky Racing Commission. They're trying to get September dates, and that would come from Turfway, but that would be huge and would set up at the corridor from Papa John Stadium right to Churchill Downs, and have some September racing dates, which would be huge for horse racing in the area. I hope they get those dates. It's kind of a slow period in horse racing. They had the Pennsylvania Derby yesterday. Handsome Mike went off, paid $40 as the longest shot on the board to win it. Kind of a slow period. Everything's Turfway's open up, but now Keeneland will open up in October, and then right into the Breeders' Cup this year, which is in Santa Anita, November 3rd. So kind of a slow period for horse racing. Guys, I love your program. Keep up the great work. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks a lot, Brian. Once again, some good insight there into the world of horse racing, a little bit of a dead period, but we will be back for more from the Weekend Sports Buzz right after this.
Now back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Tell us your thoughts on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
We're back here, the second hour of the Weekend Sports Buzz. Anybody wants to give us a shout, do so. 384-1450, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line. And as always, 11 o'clock hour, you already know who's on the line. This segment is always brought to you by Jamie Cox of Keller Williams, Louisville East. If you're playing fantasy football, it's all about a winning strategy. For that winning strategy, when you buy or sell a home, allow Jamie Cox of Keller Williams, Louisville East to put together a winning game plan for you, Kelly. With interest rates near an all-time low, there has never been a better time to buy or upgrade. For personal attention, effective marketing results, contact Jamie Cox at 502-593-5454 or email him directly at jamie@thederbycityrealtor.com. We appreciate Jamie Cox for being one of our big-time sponsors, helping us get involved with the KFFSC, and just helping the Weekend Sports Buzz roll along. As we are rolling along, Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline, the big freeze himself, Farrell Elliott. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. If you call Jamie Cox on a Sunday morning, he'll tell you there's no homes for sale. Call back later. He's busy putting his lineup together. Maybe we can help some people put their lineup together and get a championship. Speaking of championship, how close are you guys getting in your own team's personal progress?
Kelly and I, Farrell, are well on the road to success.
Both 2-0, Farrell.
That's very impressive, fellas. Congratulations. Week 3 is going to separate the men from the boys. There's so many great matchups and so many decisions that you've got to make in a lineup because you don't have players on bye week dictating your decisions, and you're now probably seeing some conflicting field. If you drafted Chris Johnson in the first round, you got to stay with him. He's your first-round draft pick. He has got 21 yards rushing in 2 games.
That's awful.
A tough call in the game.
Golly,
I'm glad I didn't pick him with my overall number 1 pick in the KFFSC. Farrell, I was really thinking over the last week that spending my $500 on that one pick has just been a great choice for me. I'm not a big fantasy free agent guy. Never have been. I'm just 2-0, living a dream.
Well, now you're going to have to learn to work that waiver wire a little bit, and what you need to hope is that some of the other owners have spent down to your level, because when you use those 1,000 fantasy dollars use half of them on your draft pick, you're going to have to work your way through the waiver wire to fill in. There's great waiver wire pickups this past week, especially coming out of the New York Giants.
I'll tell you, one guy I did kind of work the waiver wire. I kind of messed with your head a little bit there. I brought in a tight end who's been one of the key guys out there for Pittsburgh Steelers, Heath Miller. What do you think about that pickup?
Heath Miller, that is just the dullest, flattest pickup that I've ever seen.
Just a genius move.
You've got some points out of him so far, but Heath is there's reasons Heath went undrafted.
You know what, Farrell? I really trust my instincts with this. He's been the number one targeted receiver for Big Ben. Maybe he's liking the tight end this year. I got Ron Gronkowski, so I'm really not worried about it. I was just, a little waiver wire maneuver.
Well, Heath Miller's also had some injury problems. That's the biggest thing. No joke. Heath Miller's a very, very good NFL player. It's a situation, Roethlisberger calling for a more no huddle, more movement of down the field, more plays per game. All the Pittsburgh Steelers would benefit from that, but in that type of offense, the tight end seems to be the first guy that's left out.
Now, last question not about my team, real quick for Bacon, then I'll let Kelly, he might have one that we'll get into a little bit for the everyday listener and their team that are freaking out, biting their nails, one of them being Trevor Bacon-Kelsey. He wanted me to ask you, he is listening, so you can give him more advice right here, right now. Was Shore or Blackman? He is confused.
Neither. I've got to go look at his roster. What in the world is he talking about with Shore or Blackman? Bacon went with 3 wide receivers early, and he's trying to put another one in there, and he's short at running back. I got to go look at his roster. Maybe Bacon can call me after the segment because I can't understand with 18 other players why he can't find a better choice than those 2. We're going to dig a little deeper with Bacon.
It's like
maybe he's got Pierre Garçon and is experiencing some of the injury problems. We're not in bye week yet, but we sure are in a situation of availability with players.
Bacon's always, in a bind. When he's at the Wendy's drive-thru, should I get the Baconator? Should I get the Junior Baconator? Should I get the medium fry? Should I get the large Coke? He really doesn't really know, but that's not here or there. Kelly, do you have any questions about your team? Or you're pretty set, aren't you, as I am for this week?
I know I need to check it before kickoff, but Steven Jackson appears to be questionable. You got any idea on that? I mean, I'm just looking for some little inside information there, Farrell.
Well, guys, I don't necessarily have the inside information, but I think what we have to look at is a situation that Coach Fisher has obviously identified his guy, and it's Darrell Richardson. And he's also interested in looking at some of the younger backs. Steven Jackson's availability has always been in question. He won't be there regularly for the entire season, and now there's some capable backups. I think if you're Steven Jackson is a 3rd or 4th round draft pick for you, you're going to have to dig into that waiver wire and have somebody emerge. Doesn't mean that you're not going to win with Steven Jackson from time to time, but I don't think he's going to perform like a 3rd round draft pick. So jump in and find you some more help at running.
Now, before we get into the running backs, to stay on that, I just saw a little news tidbit come across the TV wire there. A guy who is on a lot of fantasy teams, Baltimore Ravens, Torrey Smith. His brother was tragically killed in a wreck on Sunday, last week. He said this morning. Excuse me. Yeah, Sunday. This morning, he says he wants to play. He wants to play more of a member of his brother. So that's something people might want to watch out. I know a lot of people have Torrey Smith.
Torrey Smith is a difference maker as a wide receiver. I expect him to bring those game-breaking abilities and the downfield opportunities to catch the ball. And especially when you're dealing with immediate grief. I've seen this with players before. They want to just stay focused on their work. I'm sure Torrey Smith's brother, a close relationship and an understanding that supporting Torrey throughout his football career, and it's just another close way to support him today.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very typical of players to do that. And you can look for Torrey Smith to play through that personal pain and do very well. Do you remember the game years ago when Brett Favre's father passed away, and he went on to play that night against the Oakland Raiders and had a stunning game?
Yeah,
it sometimes allows players to focus.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think if he does play, that's a good thing for the fantasy dwellers out there. Regardless, prayers out to him and his family. On the wide receivers spot here, you sent me a early morning text message. Calvin Johnson, Vincent Jackson, Wes Welker are all on your radar of guys you wanted to talk about today. Wes Welker, let's start with him. What's going on there in New England?
Oh, the name brands are very, very much in vogue this weekend with wide receivers, and Wes Welker will now be the target that must be counted on. If you looked at what happened in some of the previous games, we're talking about Wes Welker being out of the Patriots' plans. Nothing could be further from the truth. The opposition has worked well to take away some of the inside passing game from Brady, keeping him out of his comfort zone, and they've had to make some adjustments, and they've taken away Welker, they've taken away other receivers. Now, our old friend Deion Branch is back in the fold to line up outside, and that's a guy that Brady's very comfortable with. I don't know how quickly he's going to play, but it is a player probably that Brady requested to come back into the fold. But more effectively to your question, Welker is a target for Brady. He'll continue to be a target for Brady, and I believe that they're just bringing this player into a situation where now they'll have to rely on him because with the injury to Hernandez, we're going to see very few two tight end sets in New England. Gronkowski's stock goes up. Welker's stock goes up. Brandon Lloyd is a situation with bringing Deion Branch back. There's a comfort factor between Brady and Branch that I spoke of that could affect Brandon Lloyd. Interesting game tonight with the Patriots, but Welker should get the targets that we've been more accustomed to.
Yeah, for sure. Another guy on the list he's on our other team that we have going here with Matt McCarthy and Brad Steen. They're a split squad, prestige worldwide. Calvin Johnson, Megatron.
What a beautiful game for Detroit. Stafford is 350 yards or more in 4 of his 5 last games, and the Titans are allowing 250 yards per game to start the season. Calvin Johnson is a big player this week, maybe the number 1 wide receiver in points scored.
I have Matt Stafford. I'm looking for a big week. I also have Kevin Smith. I'm hoping for some PPRs out of him. Big week. Obviously, he had a nice one week 1. I didn't start him week 2. It was a great choice by me. Just a great manager I am. Kind of remind me of a young Belichick. I hate to say it. It's just the way it rolls. Some running backs. People around this area, Farrell, that is a guy I'm really familiar with. One of Kelly's favorite, Mike Bush, getting a start this week.
It's wonderful. He's not only going to get to start this week, he's going to produce and play very, very well, and he's going to probably keep that job as a full-time situation. I expect Forte back probably on week 7. That's after the bye week. So we're looking at least 3 starts exclusively Michael Bush coming out of Chicago, and I expect him to put up significant fantasy numbers with those starts.
Yeah, but Kelly, you're a big-time Mike Bush fan. I'm actually playing in my league. The guy, he has Mike Bush. He is starting Mike Bush, so I'm really hoping for an awful performance from the Bushinator today. Another couple backs. One guy who went early in my league, I don't know what I'm sure he went pretty early. He went for first round, if I'm correct in mine. Darren McFadden, a guy who I would never draft on my team. And then another back, Ryan Matthews. What's up with him? Is he going to play? Is he going to sit? Because I have Ronnie Brown. He's not going to play, though.
No, Ronnie Brown, I think we've seen, we hoped for a little more. Ronnie was down there in both games flirting with the end zone, but never could quite get in. So to your question, Matthews, yes. If you drafted Matthews, you were taking a risk. It proves you're a risk taker because you knew his availability for the first game was 0 and probably would not be available for the second game. That proved to win out, and he has not played yet. This week he plays, and the coach says that he's coming off the bench, and they expect big contribution from him. So you're a risk taker anyway. You go ahead and play Matthews. Now I don't ever say that I wouldn't want McFadden. I want McFadden to stay healthy when I have him, and that is taking a bit of a risk in the first round. He had a tough matchup last week. He got poked in the eye. We've got another tough matchup against the Steelers, but these are not the historical Steelers. This is a situation where you've got Harrison and Polamalu not on the field this weekend. You've got some young guys trying to fill in. McFadden in the first game was targeted 18 times as a receiver. Look for those kind of numbers today because his backup, Mike Goodson, that helps out in the receiver touches in Oakland is not going to be active for this game. He's banged up. So McFadden, a good fantasy day, not the best football day. It's going to be mixed with run and pass, a lot of catches. Is in our PPR league in the KFFSC, catches are very important. It doesn't really matter how many yards are coming with it, but McFadden always has a chance to break one. And if you're not playing PPR, you need to get out of that league and come play with us next year at the KFFSC. McFadden is your man, a number 1 start at running back, even against the Steelers.
I agree with you there, Farrell. I love the PPR league, and I'm in one league that you get half a point per reception. I don't really even like that as much. I think it's neat to reward the guys who can, move the chains.
That's highly unusual. That's like eating Thanksgiving dinner at the kids' table. That makes no sense.
Yeah, it just feels very unnatural. Going forward, the Super Bowl champion New York Giants, Eli had this big game last week on Thursday, he blew up, had just a very big statistical game against Carolina. They won. I believe they're playing tonight at Philadelphia Eagles at 8:20. What are your feelings about the Giants and Eli in particular going forward?
Well, the Giants are going to take a week off since they played Thursday. They're going to play.
That's right. Yeah, that's next Sunday. Okay.
I know you're looking so forward to it. I'm looking forward to them playing today too, because what they've done, and guys, this is really cool that you brought this up. It's something to focus on. And it's a fantasy player's chance to look beyond the numbers when he's thinking about his lineup. Every team in the NFL is deep with talent. We've already talked about Michael Bush. We talked about players that are game ready to go given the opportunity. In the New York Giants, you lose a top running back and you lose a top wide receiver. And they bring in players that Ramses Barden is a pretty good wide receiver and proved that he could do the job in replacing Hakeem Nicks. Andre Brown, who could not make the active roster, and a couple teams now stars for the Giants in a short week, getting him prepared to play. And what it is, you take a look at the Giants, they have the coaches that can get these players ready. They've proven it time and again. Good coaching is something you want to be in business with in fantasy football. Now, moving forward, when Hakeem Nicks comes back, Barden becomes again a complimentary player. Andre Brown, however, is a whole different story. It's going to be very difficult to get him off the field. So moving forward, Andre Brown is a man that you can count on for big fantasy points. Number 2 running back production off the waiver wire. That's why you guys got to really work that waiver wire.
Farrell, before we let you go, I do have one selfish question. I'm going with Phillip Rivers this week as my starting quarterback over Peyton Manning. I know that the Atlanta defense, with Abraham and they've got some good stuff going there, is good, but I'm still going with Phillip Rivers over Peyton Manning, who's playing against Houston, which I know they have a pretty stingy defense also. What do you think of my decision there?
I think it's a decision that you want to make. I think you're leaning that way because you like Rivers better than Manning. You took Rivers before Manning in the draft. Is that correct?
I believe so. I took them with my 7th and 8th round picks, so I can't really remember.
Yeah, back-to-back quarterback. That's a winner's strategy in fantasy football drafting. A little high for me, but I'm impressed with it. Rivers is bringing it together. His interceptions bother me a little bit. Okay, so let's look at his competition. Atlanta, they have that pass rush is just fascinating right now.
It is.
They've got a very active linebacking core. They've got good play in the secondary. You saw how many flags were thrown against the Falcons, and they gave up great chunks of yardage to Peyton Manning in penalties, but they reacted. They stepped up and made a big play, and I would expect them to do that against Rivers. It's a tough call. I'm going to say, however, that since the game, I believe, is in Denver, is that correct? The Houston travels to Denver?
It is.
I might go with Peyton Manning because I believe you get a 3 to 5 point bump with that player. He's looking to make a comeback after a tough start on the road in Atlanta. The fact that he'll be back home puts him in a good situation. He's going up against a team, guys. Texans offense has carried the ball 83 times in the first 2 games. They're not going to be able to churn it out against the Broncos like that. So it's going to be a different game for both those teams. Yeah, it's a coin flip. Peyton Manning should give you a few extra fantasy points.
Now you really, really just caused Kelly to sweat us up a storm. And obviously, he's not going to know what to do the rest in the remaining hour 36 till kickoff. He's freaking out now. Farrell, last question. I know he didn't mention it in a few weeks to you, but how about those Cincinnati Reds?
I wondered how long it would take to get to that. And what a way to clinch with the new pitcher that's now finally mastered not only his control, the strike zone, and the ballpark. You know, when Latos was pitching earlier in the year, it looked like pop flies were clearing the fence out there.
Yeah.
Congratulations, guys. It's a wonderful thing, you know, and you can't celebrate too much because you really hadn't won a whole lot yet.
Not yet.
It's a real reward to a team. I looked at the stats. I see that Bruce finally realized his power potential with, I think, 34 home runs.
Yeah.
I watched a play the other from second base with Brandon Phillips sitting on his rear, throwing out a player with a loopy throw at first base that was timed perfectly. They're just doing everything right. It's fascinating to watch. It's the kind of thing that you want your fantasy team to be doing as you move into mid-season. You want everything clicking, and everything seems to be working for your Cincinnati Reds. Now, don't you let that baseball take you guys away from doing your due diligence.
Farrell, it's 2012. This is the year of championships for my favorites. Kentucky already won theirs. The fantasy team, I'm going to win. And now the Reds, they're going to win the World Series. It's going to be the best sporting year of my life. And it's all about the winning strategy thanks to Jamie Cox's Keller Williams East.
I love it, guys. Have you ever looked at the University of Kentucky and the New York Yankees and looked at the years that they've won championships?
Yep.
And see how they compare. So you've got history to fight in that situation. Wouldn't a Yankees-Reds World Series just be a wonderful thing?
I feel sorry for New York. It'd be a 3-4-0 sweep coming here into Cincinnati. Farrell, we're up against this break. As always, appreciate the time. Next Sunday, my friend.
Well, good luck, guys, and we'll be talking about it.
All righty. Great segment there, Kelly. I love Farrell Elliott. Love having him on from the commissioner to KFFSC.com. We're going to go to break, come back, talk about those Wildcats, how awful they are right now. 384-1450, the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline. We will be right back.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Tell us your thoughts on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline at 384-1450.
My name is Optimus Prime. We are autonomous robotic organisms from the planet Cybertron. We are here looking for the Allspark, and we must find it before Megatron.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Brought back by a little Megatron. Is that a little Calvin Johnson reference there, Adam? Is that the reasoning for that?
Probably not.
Was that something to do with Megatron? Did I hear?
That was Transformers. Yeah.
That was Transformers.
Okay, so let's go ahead and spin that as this week's number one ranked fantasy wide receiver.
Yeah.
According to our man Farrell Elliott. Brought in by Megatron from
Maybe
Transformers.
Adam didn't even know he was putting a sign up there that Megatron, Calvin Johnson, is about to go ham. I don't know.
Adam secretly has a connection with Georgia Tech's own Calvin Johnson. I mean, they're apparently on the same wavelength or something.
They are
something going on there.
Let's get into some Kentucky talk because that's what we want to talk about right now. Some scores real quick. Across the nation, I was going to mention this earlier. It's been a great show so far, so I couldn't get to it. 384-1450 if you want to chime in. Alabama, number one ranked team in the nation, 40-7 over Florida Atlantic. No surprise there. LSU and Auburn. I predicted this game to be very close. I actually had this as my upset of the week. Auburn beating LSU. I was very close. 12-10. LSU pulled it out. Mark said it was going to be a blowout. LSU. Well, Mark, you're awful of your predictions yesterday, by the way. Arizona, Oregon. We both hit that right. It was ugly. 49-0. Oregon took care of Arizona. It was not close. Rich Rodriguez. Got a lot of work to do there. Florida State, Clemson, one of the better games of the night. 49-37, Florida State. We both predicted yesterday Florida State would win that game. We thought it'd be a little bit further than expected, but good game regardless. Upset of the night, Kelly.
UCLA lost.
That wasn't the upset of the night. I didn't know that they lost, though. But upset of the night was, in my opinion, Kansas State beating Oklahoma.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that was actually
UCLA's upset too. They're a ranked team. I didn't know they lost. I thought they won for some reason.
Uh-huh.
Who'd they get beat by? Do you know?
I do. Oregon State.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. So 2 upsets, obviously. 2 upsets of the night. Regardless of that, pretty clean slate across the top 25, it does seem. Ohio State pulled it out after a slow start. A team I don't like. 2 teams I don't like, Michigan and Notre Dame. They played Notre Dame beat Michigan for the first time in 3 years, 13-6.
Is Notre Dame on? And this is taking it to a little bit more of a national. I guess we're not that far away from the Notre Dame.
Not too far. South Bend's. We are in Jeff.
It's not the easiest drive there is, but
not the funnest.
No, but is Notre Dame for real? They really have that good of a defense? It looks like they probably do.
Chip Kelly getting it done already, coming over from Cincy.
Brian Kelly,
sorry,
yep,
Brian Kelly
right.
getting it done.
It's okay.
Anyways.
I think they must be. They've got a heck
good.
of a schedule ahead of them, so it'll be very difficult for them to,
Let's start out this UK talk with straight to the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzzline from a diehard Cat fan. Ruben, what's going on, my man?
How you doing, boys? I'm on them Red Legs.
Oh, the Red Legs, doing great. I didn't know you were a Reds fan, Ruben.
I'm not even a Red Legs fan. I'm a Braves fan. Chip and Jones going to come through, knock out your Reds in the playoffs. They're going to be chopping all the way there, World Series.
Yeah. The Braves and Chipper getting there. I'm glad Chipper got back to the playoffs, but he's going to get knocked out in round 1 or 2 when they face Cincinnati. I hate to say that, but Ruben, the Cats lost yesterday. You disappointed?
Oh, yeah. I thought, for a minute there, I thought they were going to pull it out, and then all of a sudden they put Morgan Newton in, and I almost threw up. I was so mad.
Yeah, I think that was the general consensus of the fan base. What are you looking forward to next throughout the rest of the season? Is it basketball season, or are you still going to ride and die behind this team even if they didn't win another game?
Oh, forget it. I'm going on the basketball season. We all know we're in basketball school. There ain't no reason to hide it. This football team sucks. Joker's got to go.
All right, Ruben.
Ruben, before you go, this is Kelly Patrick here. I love your calls. I've heard a couple of them. Obviously, very, very passionate guy. Who do you think would be the best replacement for Joker when they do, apparently, according to you, they're going to let Joker go. Who should they bring in?
Oh, man, I don't even care right now. I'm more worried about basketball bringing home number 9. CATS, catch. That's all for me, fellas. I got to roll.
Appreciate it, Ruben. Ruben's a very livid early bird character. He's been actually called in the last couple weekends. Ruben, get it done. But, yeah, on the Cats. 38 to donut. Florida beat Cats yesterday. I didn't expect anything less. I did expect I did say 38-17, so I was right for one score. If Max Smith would have played, I would expect some points on the board. But, yeah, like Ruben just said, the Cats came out, stopped Florida early. 2 3-and-outs to get the game going. They had a nice drive getting down there. Didn't get any points on the board for, again, haven't scored since November or October of 2010 in the first quarter of a touchdown, so that's not good. That's not good at all.
No, that's not good. I mean,
not good at all.
I don't think there's many ways you can spin this in a positive direction.
I'm getting there.
All right.
I'm going to try to get there.
Are you going to spin it?
It was 3-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Okay.
There it is. No, it was good. It really was 3-0 end of the first quarter. I'm sitting there with my UK friends. We're watching this game. Hey, you never know. I'm not saying we're going to win, but it could be a fun game to watch. And then it's like a whole nother world turned, and it was awful. Morgan Newton, 7 for 21, 48 yards, 3 interceptions. I'm pretty sure 2 of those 3 picks, maybe all 3 were in that second quarter. When at halftime, it went in at 24-0 Florida. So 3-0 to 24-0 in 15 minutes, just like that. Morgan Newton, Kelly, I don't know if you caught this game. I watched every snap, unfortunately. Morgan Newton could not hit a broadside of the barn with anything. He was overthrowing receivers left and right, but not just overthrowing them, overthrowing them 5, 6, 7 yards, 10 yards. Missed 2 or 3 wide open guys that could have kept this guys in the game. I'm talking not a player from Florida within 20 yards. Oh, missed ball, sailed it out of bounds. Morgan Newton's a great kid. I like Morgan Newton. He is not a good quarterback. And it's proven that Max Smith earned that spot. Max Smith was told by his coaches before the game to be advised that he doesn't play. Obviously, he didn't play. Morgan Newton had a lot of fan base on Twitter just harping down on him. They wanted Jalen Whitlow to come in. Jalen Whitlow ended up coming in and late in the game. He did okay.
1 for 6.
He didn't have any It was awful. Regardless, it was awful, Kelly.
They're playing against Florida.
The
I mean, me
defense was
being
good.
realistic, they're playing against Florida, who always brings in these 5-star defensive players. I mean, it's tough. You got to be really good. I put the situation, reverse it. I think Teddy Bridgewater would have done quite a bit better if he was in that exact same situation than Morgan Newton. He still would have, struck. It's not easy to play against teams like Florida at any point. So I mean, Kentucky's got a lot of issues on their hands. One of them being that they just finished up a game in Gainesville against Florida, and next Saturday they're playing against South Carolina.
Old
in
balls
Lexington.
coach just coming to town. We're gonna make him pissed off. If we beat him this year, oh my God, he might retire on the spot. He can't stay in Kentucky. South Carolina's got a good team as long as their quarterback Shaw is in, which he has been okay after injuries. But yeah, to some numbers here, rushing for Kentucky, they totaled 160. They looked Jonathan George. Raymond Sanders, they did look okay on the rushing attack. Florida, though, they had 221 rushing yards. They're obviously trumping them there. Passing wasn't even fun. Florida had 203 yards passing, 1 TD. Kentucky did have 3 sacks on Florida. That's a good thing to see. But Morgan Newton, Jalen Whitlow combined for 60 yards, Kelly. 3 interceptions. They didn't get sacked once. The Lions did well. But you can't win a game when your quarterback can't pass the ball to anybody. The defense played, for most part, well. Better than they have from most of the game. The first 2 quarters, going back to the second half against Western, was pretty good by defense. I know you were going to go back and say, Western beat them. There's no way. They played good defense in that second half. They really did. I hate to say it. Got to be a change. Time for Joker to go.
But my question is, once again, who are they going to bring in? I mean, what the real exciting issue is the Twitter sphere has been ablaze with rumors. As you know, Tyler, that Patrick Towles has been told he's redshirting no matter what happens.
Yeah, which is
to starter Max Smith.
Yeah,
that they're going with Morgan Newton this season. They're pretty much throwing in the towel, and Towles doesn't have a shot at playing a single snap this season. What do you think of that? I mean, supposedly his dad was asked about it, and he said, they asked him, is Patrick going to transfer? He said, we'll address that after this season.
Yeah, exactly. He just hit it right there on the head. I guess that would be a blow to the future, because obviously the future is what's next for Kentucky with no coach, possibly with Joker at the end of this year, having to go on a little search with the way it's looking, unless Mitch Barnhart doesn't see something that everybody in the world sees, including the announcers. Andre Ware last night was making a hip, was just ripping on what was going on, basically. I don't know what's going on. It's got to be a change. If there's not a change, I'm going to freak out.
What do you think of the decision?
If Patrick Towles transferred out, it would be good. He's a talented freshman. He really is. He could be one of those better quarterbacks. I like Max Smith. I really do. I think Max Smith is going to be a great quarterback for the next 2.5 seasons, as long as he stays healthy. But you don't want your talented young kids, which Kentucky does have. They really do. Young talent to leave, because then it just might be an extra 2 years.
What do you think of the decision by Joker to say that he's redshirted? I mean, I can say
that's the best decision Joker's ever said.
I kind of agree with you, but it's not if Towles gets pissed and he leaves.
Well, he might not be pissed that he's not playing. Does he think he can come in and change this? No, he can't come in and win. He can't beat Florida.
I'm sure he's sitting there thinking
Max Smith could have made this game a lot better yesterday.
I'm sure Towles is thinking he could be doing better than Morgan Newton.
I don't know if he can. Well, I could do better than Morgan Newton.
You really think that?
Yesterday, I could at least connected on 1 or 2 of those passes. I will. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. But seriously, though, Max Smith is a great quarterback, in my opinion.
He's a good quarterback.
He's a good quarterback.
To be able to do what he's done.
Towles, he couldn't have a better season, in my opinion, right now than Max Smith, the way Max Smith has played. Max Smith's in that game yesterday. We have a lot better game going on the way Florida played. Florida struggled. But if he left, I wouldn't be a big fan of that. That would just be another shot of, gosh, we suck. But your previous question of who would we go get? That's the next question, the $1 million question. Kind of like when Louisville, Rick Pitino, if it's under 20 years, who's Louisville going to get next? You can't get better than Rick, but you can get a lot better than Joker. But who?
Can you?
But who is who? There's a lot of names out there. Let me throw a few. Rich Rodriguez, Arizona. He just got blasted. Let me throw some names out there.
All right.
I don't want him. Just throw names.
You don't want him?
No. I don't like anything West Virginia or Michigan. Don't like it. Just don't like him. I think Rich Rodriguez is dirty. Talk about a dirty coach. I think he's true dirty. I don't know. Rich Rodriguez is the name. Jim Tressel. You never know. He wants to get back in the game. He's not going to co-coach Akron. Jim Tressel's out there. What about maybe... I'll just skip my name. Mike Leach, Washington State. Does he want to stay at Washington State, Kelly? No. He wants to go bigger. I'm assuming. Maybe he likes it out there in the lonely northwestern hemisphere. I don't know. But one other name out there, I lost his name. Virginia Tech's defensive coach. He's been with Beamer in the Hokies for about 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I had his name last night. I was looking into him. Defense, defense can win, especially in the SEC. Look at LSU. They always have good defense. Bama, great defenses. Yeah, but I think offense sells tickets, so I'm leaning towards...
Bud Foster.
Excuse me?
His name's Bud Foster.
There you go, Bud Foster. Thank you. There's some names out there, but you have to get a big name, right? Am I right? Big time name? You have to.
I don't know,
to be
actually.
successful.
I think that the good play by Barnhart may be to stick with Joker.
No, that's awful. Don't ever. You're saying that because you're coming from the Louisville standpoint of you want Cragthorpe days to continue. No.
Well, at a certain point, everybody was saying that Rich Brooks should be let go, and they stuck with him.
Yeah, but he proved in over time. Rich Brooks went better and better and better and better.
But he was doing worse. He was doing horrible for a while.
His team wasn't in there. I know Joker's team's basically in there. He's been with this program for a long time. He was recruiting those kids for Rich Brooks. He was recruiting with Rich Brooks. Rich Brooks is a hell of a coach. Rich Brooks is a great coach. Obviously, his stadium named after him, a field named after him, Rich Brooks Field at Austin, Oregon. You've got to make a change. I love Joker. He's a great guy. I mean, if you're a big fan of Kentucky and you hate Joker Phillips, I don't know why you hate him.
In my opinion, something that's really underrated in the coaching profession, both on a professional level and in a collegiate setting, is stability.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think if they were to stick with Joker, they could make a little progress. Obviously, this is rock bottom, right?
Oh, yeah.
You can't go down from here.
You can't ever you can't go down.
Can't go down. Do you go down? They can't go down.
I don't go down.
Okay. Well, I mean, they can only go forward. If they start next year, a redshirt freshman, Patrick Tolles, maybe they do a little bit better. They're getting good recruits. Can you deny that?
They're. I mean, if you want to go by number-wise, they're right there with Louisville numbers-wise. Yeah, the good recruits. But it's all about coaching. You got to coach these guys. Look at Boise State. They're getting worse recruiting classes in Kentucky. And look what they're doing. These coaches somehow know how to get them together. I don't know what's going on in Lexington.
All I can say is you fire Joker. Some of those pretty good recruits he signed are going to commit elsewhere.
Well, that's part of the game.
Then the new guy will come in. Bud Foster will come in, and he'll be like, yeah, I get, I mean, that's a tough position for anybody to be in. What's he going to do, come in and just bring a great class in and all of a sudden start winning? Well, what if he comes in and has 2 horrible years? Then do you fire him?
It's just Kentucky football.
I'm just saying, I think that if you stick, continuity is big and underrated on all levels, in my opinion.
Let's get to the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz line. Brad's on the line. What's up?
Hey, guys, what's up?
Is this Brad Steen?
Yeah,
Adam, hang up.
No, Brad.
Just kidding.
What do you think of those Reds clinching, Brad?
How about that? I was there last night.
Nice.
It was an unbelievable feeling. I was there when they clinched in 2010, but it's not. You know what? It wasn't the same. It wasn't a walk-off home run or anything like that.
It's because we're 11.5 up. Dominant.
Yeah, come. I think it was probably about the inning. They were up 3-0, and the fans started to really think, this is the time. So
that's awesome. I love the Reds. You love the Reds. Kelly loves the Reds. You can check out Brad Steen on KentuckySports.co. He does all the Reds rap for us. Getting into the UK as well now. It's good stuff. Check him out. Brad, I know you're calling to talk a little bit about this UK football quickly because we're up against our last break.
Okay. Yeah, hold the phone for just 1 second. You wanted to talk about Rich Rod. I'm a Rich Rod guy. I want Rich Rod, but you said he was dirty. But then you said Jim Tressel, who just got busted for cheating.
I know.
And then you wanted
tattoos. Big
and
deal.
then you said.
Go ahead.
Mike Leach. You said Mike Leach. He locks guys in electrical closets. I just don't think Kentucky fans understand. They're not going to get the big-time name. You're not going to get Bobby Petrino because he doesn't want to play second fiddle to the basketball team.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. That's another name I was throwing to forget. Yeah, I didn't want to mention every coach has issues. Every coach has issues, so I just kind of wanted to skip that up. But yeah, I'm just not a Rich Rod fan. I'll just say that I'm not a Rich Rod fan. How about that?
Well, I'll let you say that, but I just think that he would fit fine in the SEC, because he beat Georgia a couple of years back.
So did Kentucky.
And so did Kentucky, but still, I mean, they beat them on a much grander stage. I mean, the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm sticking with Rich Rod. It'll be impossible to get him out of Arizona. That's my dream coach right there. I think they'll probably go with somebody, if they were to actually fire him, probably go somebody out of the Sun Belt MAC conference, one of the smaller.
Well, maybe Willie Taggart, maybe?
Well,
maybe?
I don't think he'll leave Western. But I know it'll probably, I think it'll come out of the MAC. Or some smaller conference, but I know you guys are up against your break and whatnot, so I'll hang up and leave you all alone.
One thing before we let you go, Brad, I do have a question. Do we have time for a quick question?
Don't ask me, just ask
What's
him.
up?
We've got this Ruben character who's been calling in, Brad, and Ruben he said he's already moved on to basketball. Are you there, or are you still sticking with this football team?
You know what? Sink or swim, I'm with the football team.
Me too.
Good to hear.
You know, it's kind of sad that some people want to jump ship on this team. Yes, they're terrible, but you know what? Don't be a Fairweather fan. Stick with your team.
Yeah.
It sucks that we have to sit through this, but you know what? The only way you can go is up.
Harsh words coming from Brad directed at our caller Ruben. So I mean,
no, that's not harsh words, Brad. I like your spot. Thanks for the call, man. I think I think Brad's speaking the truth. You can't hate this team. Why? Because you got players seeing everything that you say about their coach. They love Joker Phillips. Every F Joker, fire Joker, put a stake in his yard. They see this. That's maybe why Patrick Towns is tired of it. I don't know. Anyways, last segment coming up, the Weekend Sports Buzz. Stick with us.
You're listening to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Call in on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
We're back to Weekend Sports Buzz. Give us a shout, 384-1450. We got about 5-6 minutes to go here before the top of the hour. Before those weekend golf guys come on, you want to definitely listen to those. John does a great job on there, him and his guys coming over from one of those other boring stations, joining the best station around, 1450, the Sports Buzz. So be sure to stick around 12 to 2 every Saturday and Sunday. Those weekend golf guys. Kelly, I mentioned I liked Bud Foster from Virginia Tech, defense guy. You pulled up some numbers on him. Former Murray
State player. Yeah, he played for Murray State. He was an assistant coach for Murray State from 81 through 86. So, he's from Somerset, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. That's where he's born. So,
Probably grew up a Cat fan.
Well, he grew up, went to high school in Illinois. So,
he moved out.
He had some connections to the area.
I got you. I mean, he coached at Murray. He played for Murray. You say he coached there
a little bit? Yeah, he was an assistant coach, linebacker, special team coach from 83 to 86. He was a graduate assistant, 81-82, after having played for Murray
86,
State.
The last year Kentucky beat Florida, so he was in the state that time. Then he left, so maybe he needs to come back.
But he's been with Virginia Tech since 87.
You see what I'm trying to get to here, Kelly?
No, I don't.
Bud Foster was in state when they beat Florida. Now he's left state for 26 years. We have beat Florida. Now Bud Foster needs to come back.
You're saying he'll just automatically
take stuff down. Let's get to the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line. My man Tony, what's up?
I just want to let y'all know one other thing they keep forgetting about when they talk about Rich Brooks. I'm not a UK fan by any means, but y'all keep forgetting that when Rich Brooks arrived in UK, they were on probation, and he didn't even have his full amount of scholarships.
Yeah, it's a good point.
He kind of took him out of probation to a bowl. If you look at it, on the big picture, he did much better than the guy now.
Yeah,
he had a full team.
I would agree. Tony, I know you're a big Louisville fan. What were your thoughts about last night?
You know what? I didn't even watch the game because I hate ESPN3. It's just horrible.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I think they kind of left it vanilla again. I think they didn't want to show Southern Miss too much, kind of like they did in the previous game before they played North Carolina.
Yeah.
Against, Southern Missouri or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
South Missouri, they left the offense, they didn't show them nothing. They just put a vanilla offense out there.
I think you might be right.
I think the defense is going to come around. Charlie Strong is a defensive coach. He is his baby. He is not going to let the defense be embarrassed. I think after that bye week, you'll start seeing the defense rev up a little more.
There you go. Tony, we appreciate the call as always, my man.
All right, thanks.
A couple minutes left here in the show. It's been fun. Appreciate everybody call. Thanks to Farrell as always. 11 o'clock every Sunday talking fantasy football. Kelly, I wanted to quickly bring up the schedule ahead for UK. Obviously, we talked about the Bud Foster. UK ahead, they have South Carolina this week. Then looking at Mississippi State, Arkansas, Georgia, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Samford, Tennessee. Kentucky's 1-3 right now. What if they went L, lean into Stanford. Samford.
Samford, please.
Samford, not Stanford, because that might probably be another L. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'd be 6. That'd be 1-9. Beat Samford 2-9, going into Tennessee at the end of the season. 3-9, 2-10. It can't get, like you said, it's not going to get any worse. It can't get any worse. I think a change has to come. I just don't see any improvement of the offenses. Take it back. Improvement in the play calling. The play calling is still the same. 3rd and 14 last night. In a big-time play, let's run a handoff up the middle. It's been like that for 3 seasons now. Something has to change.
My only thing about criticizing the play calling is, when it works, everybody loves it. When
it never works.
Okay, but had they thrown a pick, would you have been happier?
At least they took a shot downfield, which they do 3 times a game when they're down 38-0.
So you would rather Morgan Newton air it out?
I don't want to see Morgan Newton air anything out. We're up against the top of the hour. It's been a fun show. It really has.
Fun show,
A lot of talk.
A lot of optimism coming from the UK fan base.
Optimism?
No, but in all seriousness,
we're backing our fans, our team.
You are.
I love Kentucky.
Brad obviously is too. Which
you
is
love
good.
Louisville. You backed him with Crackthorpe was there.
I did.
Good. We're true fans. Kentucky, stick it up with us next weekend. And of course, Saturday, 9-11. Sunday, myself, Tyler Boyd with Kelly Patrick, as always, getting you through the wrap-up of games. Should be a fun show. Stick with the 1450 Sports Buzz, as those weekend golf guys will be next, Kelly.
Go Reds.
Go Reds. This is Weekend Sports Buzz.